So we've answered a bunch of questions so far on property, plant, and equipment, and now we want to answer the last question. What economic model should we use to allocate the cost of this property, plant, and equipment over the service life of the property, plant, and equipment? That's where we got to figure out. So what economic model do we use? All right, we're gonna I'm gonna give you a couple of examples, right? Two pretty simple examples. So let's start with and we're gonna here we've got on the y-axis we have the asset value. And on the x-axis, I'm going to use it's, or asset value, asset costs, right? Whatever you want to call that. On the x-axis, we're going to use whatever we used as our estimated service life. And for this example, I'm going to keep it somewhat simple. I'm going to assume it's a time-based service life. So it's based purely on time. So if the service life ends at this point here, right? So that's my ending service life. Make that red. This is my beginning service life here. And my original cost is here. So here's my cost. This is cost. And at the original service life, it's up here. That's my point. And I estimated the kind of the value at the end, right? That I guess we should call that something. Let's call that residual value. Let's say that's here. So this, from the cost down to the residual value, this is the amount here that I am going to allocate over the service life. Okay, I'm going to allocate this amount right here over the service life. So what economic model should I use? Well, one way to look at this is making a judgment call that every year that we go by, I use up a similar amount every single year. I use up the same amount every single year. I'm just going to draw that little dotted line. That's my residual value. So the model looks like this. It's eventually going to, at the end of the service life, it's going to be here. At the beginning of the service life, it's here. And this model, I'm going to try and draw a straight line freehand. This model is going to look like that. That's a pretty good straight line that I just wrote there. So every year, so if this is 1 year, another year, another year, another year, Put one more in there, right? This change, right? This change here is a similar change every single year. And this is the amount that I'm allocating each year. Right? This amount, this amount, this is the amount that I allocate each year. So these are the annual allocations of the cost, right? These little, and the combination of each of these is going to equal the total amount that I'm going to allocate over the service life. This economic model is called the straight line model. See what I did there? I can draw a straight line. This is the straight line model. Okay, where I'm going to allocate this cost on a straight line basis. Each year it's going to be the same amount over the service life. So what I do here is I take if I'm trying to figure out my annual cost is going to be equal to the original cost minus the residual value right? That's this here, this total amount, that total amount right there. The original cost minus the residual value. That's how much I'm going to allocate. Divided by the service life. Right? In this case, I used time or years. And that's how I calculate how I'm going to allocate this cost. We also call this annual cost, and you've seen it in the financial statements. This is also referred to as depreciation. It's also referred to as depreciation. And this is, this straight line model is a model you see used a lot because it's simple. It may be representative of what's really happening as I'm trying to allocate this cost over the service life. But this too is an estimate. It's a judgment call as to whether or not that's the right model. So this is one economic model. I'm going to show you another economic model in the next video.